BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, to NHL and UFC, BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome to Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals, part of the Bleav Network, joined by former tight end and Super Bowl 33 participant Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. Be sure to subscribe, comment, rate, and follow this podcast and tell all of your Arizona Cardinals fans and friends to do the same. You can also watch us on Bleav TV around the country, in airports, and on YouTube. Read the top Bleav stories at si.com and follow us across all our Bleav socials. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. What is good, my brother Ed Smith?
What's going on, brother Jay? It's an exciting time around here as we get ready to watch the Cardinals go into the post. Oh, wait a minute.
I say on everything that we do together, I say you are a hater. I am consistent about saying that you are a hater.
Let me ask you a question, because every year we usually do our pre-season, look at, prognostication, how the season's going to kind of go. The over-under at the start of the year was 5.5. I think we both thought there's no way they're not going to win at least 5+ games. But in my opinion, I think we were both. What was do you remember your preseason?
I think I had 7 or 8 in terms of when I looked at when I was trying to break down the schedule. So yeah.
And I think I was around 7. I might have been 8 myself. I did not have a winning record. So either way, we were both very close.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how we kind of stumbled to this, finishing record, which ended up right about where we both thought they would be. Yeah. And a lot of questions to be asked and answered moving forward. But once again, another, and I say another because we've been doing this with Bleav for at least, I think it's 6 years now.
Good Lord.
I think we have one playoff season in there.
Oh, maybe. Man.
Is it one?
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right on that. Yeah. It was the Los Angeles Rams playoff game.
Yeah. So once again, the finish of another it depends on where you're standing. If you're somebody like your sons, diehard Cardinals fans, got to be so disappointing for them. Whereas when I looked at this team and the lack of talent and what they were up against, the only surprise for me is not that the Cardinals finished sub 500, is that the 49ers finished underneath them. That's the biggest surprise. As far as our team here, the only, I guess, surprise for me is that we didn't finish in last, but I did not see this as a playoff season. Was hoping, just like you always are, and we always say it, hoping to be very pleasantly surprised and made to look like fools. When we pick games through the year, we always like to be proven wrong. Once again, the Cardinals and the organization proved us right.
I will say this. I'm not so wrong on the 49ers because I've said this before, and this is based upon some things. This is a couple of years ago, some data that I received from that I came across where the 49ers every year, sometimes every other year, they take that dip. And this is one of those dips. And it's not because they're void of talent, but it's because injuries. And so the question would then be why do you have those injuries? The injuries could be because of just happenstance. Maybe it's because of you practice them too hard. I don't know. It is what it is. Because think about when the former coach of the Seattle Seahawks, goodness gracious, Pete Carroll, thank you. When every offseason you would hear about him breaking these rules in terms of how he was having them practice in pads and all that type of stuff, because he was having them go hard all the time. And I wonder if the 49ers kind of do something in that same kind of general, that quadrant. If you break things down in the 4 quadrants like we did back in, junior high school, maybe the quadrant of super intensity, maybe the 49ers are always in that quadrant
I
of
can give you my
intensity.
thoughts on that.
Okay, please do.
The just like the Detroit Lions this year,
Yeah.
the San Francisco 49ers are a straight up physical team. And they practice, they eat breakfast hard, bro. I mean, I'm
True,
sure you
true,
remember that joke
true,
it was
true.
years ago with DMX,
Yes, sir.
They do everything. There's no such thing as we're gonna go out here and just give it our best. They do 150% all the time. Same thing with the 49ers. The 49ers, when you play them for years, we looked at those stats. The teams that played the 49ers, the week after, they were like, and whatever, because
yes, I remember that stat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, the problem with them beating you up, they also beat themselves up too, because of their straight up physical brand of football. And there's no way around that. There's a yin and a yang and a give and a get in every situation in life. Sometimes you love too much. Sometimes you fight too much. Sometimes you do this too much. When you're as physical as an organization,
who the hell are you? Are you like some what? Who are you?
I'm just giving it to you raw, bruh. I'm giving it to you. This is raw. When you do what the 49ers do, what the Detroit Lions do, and we've seen the season that the Lions have had. I mean, they had 12 guys on their defense alone on IR, and that is an account. That is dudes going 150 miles an hour in their sleep, probably punching their wives in the middle of the night because they're looking for some type of contact, that type of thing, right? So what happens is that catches up to you after a while. When you play that physical, just 49ers, every now and then you'll skate through a season, you're physical and you beat everybody else up. There are these situations where it comes back to haunt you. And as physical as they are, and they lay it all on the line, this was the year, and you're famous for always catching this, and it's reciprocal. It's every few years, because then this offseason they'll get 100% healthy.
Oh yeah. Next year they're gonna be fierce. Next year,
come back. Yeah, they come back and they're ready to go, and they'll get through that season unscathed for the most part. Same another organization, you've watched this. The Rams do this as well. The Rams, they got hurt early.
The Rams don't regress to the mean as much as like below the mean like the 49ers do. Because when the 49ers are bad, they're bad. When the Rams are bad, they're average.
The Rams caught a break when they were able to. They got hurt early, then they recovered. And you notice they were 1-4 to start the season or whatever it was. People were counting them off. And all of a sudden they gave Puka a few weeks off. Even everybody got hurt, but they came back. And then when they came back, they were able to catch stride and go. Whereas the 49ers, they started the season in a deficit already when your boy McCaffrey couldn't even start the season. In the end, he got a game or two in, and he was back on the shelf. So for me, this is one of those situations. And what does this mean? This is an organization that has what, Jay? I'm going to ask you, this is a twist. I mean, it's a test. So I'm asking a test, all right? What do they have, Jay?
I don't know. What do they have?
Man, you're supposed to get this one. They have an identity.
Ooh, okay. My bad.
Their identity is physicality. And the physicality caught up to them this year. So we'll see how they bounce back. And I know this is a Cardinal-centric show, but yeah, that was their excuse. You can look at their start to finish of the season. Now the question is, does McCaffrey even get, how close to 100%, because he's never going to be 100%, how close to 100% can you get him over the offseason, into the preseason, put him in the bubble wrap, see how you can get him to start the season, then you got to protect them throughout. So we're going to see how they manage that. But they started in a deficit, never got out of it. The Cardinals, on the other hand, this was a prime opportunity with the Rams having their issues in the beginning, the San Francisco being down all year long, and Seattle's inconsistencies. If ever there was an opportunity for the Cardinals to say, yeah, you don't want that, we'll take it, it was this year, and they could not do it. So for me, it's like, wow, if you couldn't take advantage of this year, if not now, when? Is my question.
Okay, so I got questions for you on that, and so I
So
know
you do.
Yeah, so I know that you are the one to answer those questions. But let's ask those questions. Let's get into this game. So going into the final game of the season, the Cardinals ended up finishing, what is it, 8-9, and the San Francisco 49ers ended up finishing 6-11, because the San Francisco 49ers came to Glendale, Arizona, and they lost 47-24. Kyler Murray was 25 of 35 for 242 yards, 4 touchdowns, no sacks. We had, if you look at, because Connor didn't play, we had, what was it? Nobody with 100 yards rushing. We had Tony Jones Jr. with 55 yards rushing. We had Michael Carter with 43 yards rushing. We had DJ Dallas with 22 yards rushing. So, so we look into some of those things. Kyler Murray had 22 yards rushing. That might make Ed a little bit happy. Trey McBride, who is one of the top 3 to 5 tight ends in the league, I think that's safe to say, had seven receptions for 65 yards. Marvin Harrison had 5 receptions for 63 yards. So there were some things going on there. But the reason why I'm saying this, and so they went up against, the old black quarterback backup, Joshua Dobbs, who's now on the San Francisco 49ers, who finished with 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. But what I'm getting at is, when you look at that, is that one of those things where it's, why couldn't you do that the last 3 or 4 games, or especially when it came to the Carolina Panthers game, where there was so much riding on that game, to be able to make the last couple of weeks of the season more meaningful and more poignant? Or is it one of those where this could be, because you hear that sometimes, where people will say this win can help to set us up for next season? Are those types of things possible? So 2 questions before I start to break all this stuff down. Is this one of those, why couldn't you do this earlier in the season or more consistently? Because I heard somebody, especially locally, call it zombie football, for lack of a better term.
All right, I'll answer your question. The first is the why couldn't we do this, and I'll give you the rawest answer I can, Jay. Why couldn't we do this? Because we weren't playing Joshua Dobbs and the backups from the San Francisco 49ers, who at the time had 6 wins on the season, cruising toward a 6-11 season. This game meant absolutely. And if this was text, you know how you can feel somebody's text when it's all caps? If this was text, not just with absolutely, but everything else in the entire text will be in capital letters to enforce and let you know exactly what I'm saying and how fervently I'm saying it. This game meant absolutely jack squat, not just to the 49ers, but to the Cardinals as well. Because this game, everybody wants to walk around patting themselves on the back like, yeah, good. They had an opportunity and they squandered it. As far as getting this dub at the end of the season, okay, so you're 8-9. Congratulations. You're not going to the playoffs. At one point, you were 6-4.
Yeah,
and you went on a 1-5 stint after that to basically just destroy your season, and then you pick up this meaningless victory at the end. Now, all victories are good victories because they count toward the overall. Okay, so at some point, now if you're Pittsburgh, they'd have said, well, this would have been Mike Tomlin's first time ever under 500. Now, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the fact that they ended up, at one point they were 6-4.
Yes.
They ended up 8-9.
Yes.
So in the big picture of it was because we have people that stay in touch with us and they always want to text us and they got all that was a great victory, wasn't it? Hell no. It was a
Okay.
win.
Yeah.
And the only thing you say it was a win that meant absolutely nothing to either team.
Yeah.
And as far you can't take this victory the next year. You're not going to start the year 1-0 because you won this game in January. San Francisco, they wrote this season off. They had Joshua Dobbs, which no disrespect to Joshua Dobbs, but they had Joshua Dobbs filling in for Brock Purdy and a whole lot of other people that either didn't have incentives or whatever were sitting on the bench. They came out, they played. You had certain guys in there. Okay, but this game, I guarantee you this too, Jay.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of game planning for this game.
You don't
Meaning,
think so? Okay. Okay.
here's what I'm meaning. When you're playing in a game like this, we're only going to show so much. This is like a preseason game for the most part. If we had any trick plays that we hadn't run all year, if we had any gadgets or formations or this that we were waiting to pull out for that special occasion, maybe if we made the playoffs, all that stuff is like, that's like when you're done like with the holidays and you're putting the Christmas tree away and you find an ornament or something that you forgot to put on the tree. It's like, you're not going to put the tree back up and nah, it's like, well, we got to put that one out there next year. So everything that you were saving for the best or biggest moments of the season, or and players, and that means players included. That game would have been a time for you to see me. I would have been out there playing like a mug because that would have been my time. Everybody else would have been sitting and getting some rest, getting ready for the offseason. Hey, Ed, going to get you some. Okay. That game for me is, for the Cardinals, if they want to pretend like, well, it's great to end on a good note. Your note is what you were during the entirety of the season, meaning you were at one point, I keep going back to it, you were 6-4. The 49ers ended up with 6 victories on the entire season. So that means that 10 games in, you matched their total. You let the Rams, who were decimated at the beginning of the season, and the Seattle Seahawks, who nobody had faith in. From one week to the next, you didn't know what Seattle team was going to show up. One week they beat Minnesota or whoever it is. The next thing you know, they're peeing down their leg against the Giants or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever. You let an opportunity just dribble out of your hand. And for anybody in the Cardinals, and then here's the other thing, Jay. This is something, I don't know if we had this on the rundown, but this is something we need to talk about. Have we seen the ceiling of Kyler Murray? Meaning, Kyler Murray is a quarterback that will possibly get us to the playoffs. We're going to be a 6th or 7th seed when we get in, and we're going to have a one and done. Or is he a franchise quarterback like a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson? Run down the list of dudes that will put you in their back and take you to the promised land. I am starting every week that goes by through this season, and now we'll see what the offseason brings in next year. Every week that goes by, I'm more and more convinced that Kyler Murray, as talented as he is, as gifted as he is, touched by the gods as far as athletic ability, and one thing he didn't get was the height. Everything else involved, he is not a franchise quarterback, meaning we might have seen the best, or his ceiling is very close to being reached in terms of where he will take this organization. And that means that inside those walls, they have to start figuring it out. How long are we going to do this? And can we squeeze any more juice out of this orange?
So let's get into that a little bit here. So again, Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals, presented by Bet Online. So as we talk about how the Cardinals wrapped up the season with a 47-24 victory over the rival San Francisco 49ers, but Kyler just finished his 6th season. So one of those seasons ended prematurely, right? Because with injury. But if we're looking at how there's a range of sorts. And so I think of it like mathematically. So when there's a range, so when you look at the upper and lower limits of what, in this case, in terms of what a player can do, Yeah, is there on the lowest when we're looking at when we're questioning what Kyler can do, we're looking at is he able to really go through his progressions? Is he able to really be able to not only stay in the pocket, but to be able to stay in the pocket and be able to do it confidently and to be able to see what he needs to see? Is he able to use, as you mentioned, he's been blessed by the gods? Is he able to use his speed to be able to pick up a few yards here and there? And those are questions that definitely remain. And I wonder if the Cardinals are going into this to next season thinking that because of the contract that they signed him to, we have really no other choice but to give him one more season to be able to see if he's going to really start to realize some of that potential that we've hoped that he has.
All right. Well, I'm looking up some things. Okay, that's what
Yeah,
we do while we do it.
yeah,
And I'm a good comparison. He's taller, but Lamar Jackson, quote unquote, running quarterback. Kyler
yeah.
Murray, not a running quarterback, but he has the ability to do it. And at this point in time in their careers, you're looking at, let me see. Mm-mm. Okay, so Kyler Murray, and I'm gonna make sure I get this right while we're sitting here talking. Year, blah, 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 career. Da, 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 da. Okay, so Lamar Jackson. Make sure I get this right. Let me see. Career
Mm-hmm.
stats.
Because Lamar has had a wonderful season when it comes, especially this season when it comes to the low number of interceptions and just based upon the weapons are around him to be able to take the Ravens or at least winning the big game is going to be the thing that haunts Lamar Jackson. But either way, but go ahead when you're talking about Kyler.
One of the things that I'm looking at, and we talked about this all through the year, Jay. Kyler has been reluctant to run. Not even
Yeah,
they haven't even included it in the game plan.
yeah,
We've seen plays where Lamar, they have designed runs for him, where he'll pull it them, a quick read option, boom, he's out the back, or drop back, quarterback delay, whatever it is, that type of thing. Kyler has gotten to the point where we've had games where he had 3 rushes and 20 yards in a game, that type of thing. So his involvement has just continued to just kind of deteriorate, go down over his career. And let me see, he came into the league. They came into the league around the same time. Kyler came in 2019.
yeah.
Lamar came in 2018. All right.
Yep.
As of right now, career rushing attempts. So we're giving 1 extra year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kyler is at 503, and that accounts for design runs and scrambles. Because once you
Right.
start running, you just become a runner.
Yeah.
So Kyler is at 503. You want to take a guess at where Lamar is?
It's 830.
1,014.
Okay.
So in 1 year, he has 600 plus more rushing attempts.
Yeah.
So, and I keep talking about either Kyler is reluctant to do it or they're just not incorporating it. And I guarantee if my job was in peril, meaning I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm the head coach, and I had
Yes.
this beautiful new tool or this athlete, and there's this thing that he could do that nobody else could do or very few could do. You
Right.
don't think I would be trying to pull that out of him and utilize it?
Right.
Now, meanwhile, like I said, you got over 600 plus less rushes, attempts in 1 season. That means that there's a disconnect either with our coaching staff, they're not calling it, or Kyler's just not doing it. And I'm at the point now where I'm watching him. If he doesn't, like when he drops back, and God bless him, maybe he just wants to be a pocket quarterback. But at 5 and some change, whatever they want to pretend that he is, he's not a pocket quarterback. Too many times have I seen him, pocket starting to closing on him. He does the spin move. Somebody there, go down. Drops like a bad habit.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Lamar extend plays. I've seen Mahomes. Mahomes isn't even a runner.
Yeah.
I've seen Mahomes extend plays. I've seen Josh Allen with his big old body,
Woo,
like
that's
Roethlisberger.
he's the outlier though. You got to give a
I
little bit of
know.
grace there. He's the
I'm
outlier.
just saying it, but he has the brawn. He doesn't have their speed. You know how dangerous Josh Allen would be if he had the quickness of a
Woo,
Lamar Jackson or a Kyler Murray. I mean,
woo.
that's their superpower. You talk about everybody's got a superpower, bro. When you're at
Yeah,
that level, when these quarterbacks are at those elite levels, everybody's got a superpower. Josh Allen's superpower is his ability to look like Ben Roethlisberger, but still run like whatever, like a Burrow for the most part.
yeah,
Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson and a few others, their superpower is like running around like a greased pig, bro. You can't touch them.
right.
Yet we can't get him to even utilize it a little bit. So my question is, if you're not going to do it or use it, how valuable are you to us? I can't make you. I get at 5. Let's call him 5'9". Let's call him 5'10".
Yeah,
At 5'10",
okay.
I cannot make you a full pocket quarterback passer. You're not Jared Goff.
Yeah,
You're not Stafford. You're
yeah,
not run down the list of those guys.
yeah,
But yet he's trying to play the game like that. And like I said, there's a disconnect somewhere, whether it's Petzing and Gannon are trying to talk him into it, and he's not buying into it, or he's basically, I mean, they're just not even thinking about it. But I guarantee you, bro, that's like having a cabinet full of paprika and not using that damn paprika.
Man, I hate
I mean, smoked paprika at that. You got it, and you're not going to use it.
smoked paprika is good.
Smoked paprika. But we're getting to the point where, and I said this in a long way, but the moral of my story and my rant here,
Yeah,
me personally, I'm starting to become more and more convinced that whatever is holding him back has made him a quarterback in my eyes that is not going to be the one that leads the Cardinals to the promised land, to the playoffs and beyond. It's one thing to get in every 5 years, bro, but even if you just get it, Eli got in every 5 years, but he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
We're getting in every 5-6 years, and we're losing that one game that we play. So you start multiplying those years up, you're going to get the end of his 9th, 10th year, and it's going to be like, well, we did make the playoffs back in 2018 or whatever it was. I know we went, 6 years, in a drought, but we got there once. How'd that work out? We got spanked, or, he didn't want to go back into the game or whatever it was. I am starting to become more and more convinced.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this during the offseason because we're going to find out the direction of the Cardinals, what they're going to do. You and I are going to sit down and talk about what their needs are, where they're going in the draft, what they're looking at the combine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In my opinion, ownership and front office should start contemplating, is this our dude for perpetuity? Is this our dude that we're going to hang our hats on? This is Kyler Murray, elite franchise quarterback. We roll, riding or die. I don't think so, bro. You can tell me, you can ask your sons. I would debate it. I would love to debate with anybody, whether it be through a call-in or text us, email us, whatever it is. You give me your argument for what tells you that this is our dude here in Arizona for the next, I mean, he just signed that deal. He's only 5 or 6 years into it. He's mid-20s or whatever it is. You tell me you ready to ride with this guy for the next 8, 9, 10 years into his mid-30s. I don't see it.
Yeah. I tend to lean with you when it comes to that, because it's sometimes what I hear oftentimes when it comes to sports is a change of scenery can be good, but even more specifically is somebody with the right game plan based upon what your skill set is. Yeah. And the B to that A is then getting that athlete to buy in to that plan. Because I think about, it really, when I'm thinking about it, it's more football and, let's say, basketball when it comes to that is, so I see that you have all the talent in the world to do X, but let me tell you why Y is important to you and how I can help you. And it's going to be a switch. So maybe you were the number one option shooting all these 3-pointers, and now you're going to be still the number one option, but you're shooting more mid-range, and you're trying to, maybe we're having you control the ball a little bit more, or you haven't been rolling out and doing bootlegs and waggles as much as you should be, but maybe that's what we incorporate into what we do, and we're going to really be able to game plan in some of those runs to really be able to, even if it's 3 to 5 yard runs, that helps us to be able to move the chains and stay ahead of the chains to get us where we need to be.
Can I throw something out at you, Jay?
Yeah.
You know my background. I was a baseball
sir.
player that eventually became a football player.
Yes, sir.
And when I look back on my career, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I made that switch because it was time for one. And then I realized how much I enjoyed the game of football when I eventually got to it. Right now, Kyler's looking – I can only speculate. So I'm not going to put words in the man's mouth. But
okay,
there has to be, because I've done it before, there was a reason why I made the switch. And I can go through the whole story of how the switch was – it became part – I mean, it was like I had to do it. And at this point in time, Kyler, at some point, he's had one of those nights just like I did when I decided to inquire about, man, what would have happened if I would have went the other route?
Yeah.
I guarantee you. And I mean, I don't, how much money you would have me guarantee, I would put it down because I was there. I know. I'm not saying he wishes he made a different choice, but I guarantee you he's had a couple conversations with himself. Man, I wonder how my career would be going if I went the other route and went baseball instead of football. And you know how that eats up with you, Jay, when you're not having the success.
What about not the success, but the money's there?
Bruh, have you done a job that you didn't particularly care for, and no matter how much money it was, you were like, man, this is BS. I can't stand this job. I hate the people I'm working with. I hate the scrutiny. I hate the hours. I hate the this. Now, the money, in the end, it might make it justifiable, but you know how many nights did you go to sleep 100 days in a row? Man, I wonder, how would things be? Where would my life be if? Now, here's the thing. We all know the money in baseball. It's all guaranteed money. Nobody's beating up on you. You're going to the plate, especially a little 5'10" self. You're getting on base. You're stealing bases. You're playing 162 games of, I mean, just, you know, we all know the difference in baseball and football. You know, there's little, when you're the franchise guy, franchise quarterback compared to, hey, he's a hot prospect. He got to the big leagues. Maybe he's not hitting the way we wanted to, but he's still there. And this dude, eventually he's going to get there. You know how much less pressure there is to be the shortstop that eventually he's going to get there. But we paid him enough money that we have to get him up here to the big leagues. And all his money moving forward is all guaranteed. And we're in an organization like the A's that stink. Nobody's following. We're moving to Las Vegas. And, hey, there's no pressure. Just go out there and do what you do, bruh. You know the different mentality you have. And here's the thing. People don't understand this. I lived both lives, Jay.
Yeah.
I lived what it was like to be in professional baseball. And there were times when I was just like, I mean, I could go out and party, drink as much as I wanted to, wake up the next day with a hangover, go to the park, get 4 knocks, go out and do it the same thing the next night. I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm just saying there's a different lifestyle. When you're in the NFL, you talk about pressure, bro. I was a backup tight end, and I felt pressure on every special teams I was on every, snap I took when I was out there. I was on the deciding kick for the 1998 NFL NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. I was on the left wing. How bad do you think the history of my sports career would have been if they on that play? I jumped off sides early. I held on the play. Right. We got pushed back. We missed the kick. Minnesota went on to win the game.
Right.
That type of thing. That was as a backup tight end in the league, let alone the franchise quarterback. and you flip flop that where you're playing in MLB 162 games. You're going to have some stinkers. You're not the pitchers. You might go over there and make 3 errors, but the pitcher gave up 4 home runs in the game. Those errors just get washed away. It's like, hey, we'll get them tomorrow. That type of thing. There's an entirely different perspective and kind of way you go about things. And I guarantee you, I'm thinking about it. I know Kyler's thinking about it. And I'm not saying he wishes he made the other choice. I'm saying he wonders what it would have, what his path would be like, or where he would be in his career if he gave up this. Say he didn't. You're not the franchise quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, but you're also not being bruh. Every time I turn on Colin Cowherd and certain ones, yeah, I used to believe in Kyler Murray, but man, golly, he's just, how much less scrutiny, how much less everything he would be dealing with if he made the other choice, if he went and play baseball. And that's one of the things, because I lived it, I know. I'm not saying he wishes he made the choice, but I guarantee you there's been a few nights, probably many, many nights, that he said to himself, I wonder what? I wonder if I'd went the other route. Where would I be? That time. And for me, I mean, it shows in his preparation. It shows in his demeanor for the game. It shows in his, God-given, God-blessed, touched by the gods, but we're getting just a watered-down version of what everybody thought Kyler Murray would be. And for me, it is now, like I said, you have to start answering the question, if you're the front office, how much more of this are you going to deal with? Or say the next time you get a call, because we all know, Jay, and I'll say this and I'll shut up. We all know there's calls made all through the year about XYZ players and stuff like that. Certain everybody knows certain guys are off limits. You can't even call about. You call somebody about Lamar or Patrick or is this a prank call? What the hell are you doing? But you start to get to a point where, hey, wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me put you on hold real quick. I'll be right back. Hold on. That's where you start, in my opinion, that's where you start to get with Kyler. Let me put you on hold because we need to have a couple conversations. I'll be right back. Give me a couple minutes. In my opinion, you should start that process because, like you said a little bit ago, maybe what he is here is not what he could be somewhere else. Maybe there's a different coordinator who's looking like, man, if I could just get my hands on that dude. But we know that what they've done here so far has been very subpar, substandard. If you want to keep doing the same thing next year, okay, so we win one more game next year. So instead of 8-9, we're 9-8. Nowhere near the playoffs. I don't think he has it in him to put us on his shoulders and take him to that next level. And those are questions that everybody's going to have to start answering and really kind of, is this his organization? Is he the dude that's going to take us to that next level?
All right. Well, we're going to end it on that note. So this has been Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. He is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. As always.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You success or no success on this season? I want to get your thoughts on that. Has this been a good year for the Cardinals or not?
Yes. The reason why I say it is so last season was what, 4 victories? Okay. 4 to 8, right? So that's growth. But based upon how we saw this season play out, it's not a success because success would have been getting to the playoffs. Even if you get to the playoffs and you're one and done, success would have been we're 6-4 in the season. Let's go ahead. Let's get our success would have been the final game of the season meaning something. Not even getting to the playoffs, but the final game of the season meaning something. So if I'm going to be honest, I would say this season is a failure.
And the reason I'll double stamp that is you always talk about it's expectations. The expectations were heightened when at one point we were 6-4, and that was a bad 6-4. We lost to Washington coming in here. We lost a
It
couple
was
games that were
it
like,
was it was one of those things where you try to convince yourself, and you're saying, well, this is where we're at. We've been doing some positive things, and you try to find that the positive in in throw out the negative. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, at one point we had our own fate and destiny in our hand,
True.
and we just, I mean, I'll say this, and we can wrap it up, Jay. It wasn't just all on the players, the coaching staff, either whether the way they prepped or game planned or whatever it was not good enough down the stretch, and especially through that middle portion of the season when things were at like critical mass. We could have done things entirely different, run the ball more, do this, do whatever it is to secure a victory or two. And our staff, just as the players did, because it's a group effort. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The players didn't go out there and piddle down the front of their pants. The coaching staff did exactly the same as well. So it was a group effort. This was, as far as we're giving grades out, and that's something we can do moving forward in these shows, because we'll wrap the season up by maybe picking out each, the offense, the defense, the quarterback room, we'll go all down on that. But on all fronts, we had failure that has to be addressed at the very least. What happened? We have to ask the question: what happened with some of these games? The lack of, like, you go into a game, you got Connor last week, you ran him 20 plus times. He ran, and it was like all of a sudden he was the invisible man the next week.
And to that point, even along those lines, when you look
Marvin Harrison Jr., where you been? I mean,
when you look at the final score, like the 47-24 score, when you look at how much like the offensive explosion, and so one of the things that I heard locally, and I think this is valid, is why can't you balance having Connor as this running offensive weapon, but still being able to try to be explosive when it comes to the passing game?
Yeah. So these are all things we'll explore during the offseason. But once again, bro, another great year doing this with you, and we'll carry it into the offseason. And we got the thing about these type of seasons, we got so many questions to still answer. We got combines.
That's because you a hater.
Free agency. No, I mean, I just keep it real. When keeping real goes wrong, then I'm just, I just keep it real. Ain't got no candy coating over here and everything like that. But like I said, we got a lot of time to talk about a lot of different things. And I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. Another great season covering this team. And once again, just another disappointing, season,
Yeah. I agreed. So on behalf of the one and only Ed Smith, my name is Javon Adams. We are presented by Bet Online. We do this thing as we get into the offseason. We'll be doing it once a week, but you know how we do it. So make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on here. And again, we are presented by Bet Online. And as we always like to say around this time, you can